You've seen the topper. Same lectures, same syllabus, same syllabus, same number of hours in the day. Different result. Every semester, quietly, without announcement, without a study aesthetic to post, without a single conversation about how hard they're working, a different result. You want to know what they're doing that you aren't. That's a fair question. And the honest answer is not what the topper videos on this platform will tell you, because most of those videos show you the surface, the 5 a.m. wake, the color-coded notes, the Pomodoro timer. The surface is not the reason. The reason is something quieter, less photogenic, and far more replicable than any schedule you've ever seen posted. Bruce Wayne did not become the most prepared man in Gotham by training harder than everyone else. He trained differently, with a specific architecture, to every day that most people never see because it happens in rooms with no audience, and produces results that appear from the outside to look like talent. What that architecture actually contains is 3 decisions made daily, in sequence, that research on high-performing students consistently surfaces as the differentiating variables, not supplements, not systems. 3 decisions. Here is exactly what they are. Decision 1. They protect 1 hour of uninterrupted deep work before anything reactive arrives. The topper does not check messages first, does not open social media, does not begin the day by processing what the world sent overnight. The first cognitive act of the day is directed entirely inward, at the hardest problem, the most demanding material, the thing that requires the most from the brain before the brain has been spent on anything else. This is not a morning routine preference. It is a cognitive resource decision. The prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for sustained concentration, complex reasoning, and the kind of thinking that separates a thorough answer from a thin one, operates with maximum availability first thing. Every reactive input consumed before the deep work begins draws from that availability. The topper reaches the hard material with a full tank. Everyone else reaches it after the tank has already been drawn on for 90 minutes of low-value input. Wayne's mornings were never reactive. Every account of that preparation describes a man who arrived at the day's first demand already. 2 hours into the work that mattered. The inbox waited. The demand waited. The deep work did not wait, because deep work waits for no one, and the window for doing it well is shorter than most students realize. Decision 2. They end every study session with a retrieval test, not a reread. When the topper finishes a study block, the last 10 minutes are not spent reviewing what was just covered. They are spent producing it from memory on a blank page, testing what actually transferred, finding what didn't, and creating the specific list of gaps that the next session will target. This single habit compresses the feedback loop that most students run over weeks into a loop that runs daily. The average student discovers what they don't know on the exam. The topper discovers it at the end of every session, 2 weeks before the exam, with enough time to close every gap before it costs them. Same material, same hours. Completely different relationship with what they actually know versus what they merely looked at. Stay with this. The third decision is the one nobody talks about because it looks like the opposite of hard work, and it is the one that makes the first 2 sustainable for an entire semester without burning out. Wayne trained to exhaustion, and then he stopped. The preparation wasn't endless, it was precisely bounded, because he understood that a body pushed past its recovery threshold does not build capacity, it erodes it. The same principle applies to cognitive work. A student who studies past the point of diminishing returns isn't accumulating more. They're degrading what they already built that day. Knowing when to stop is not a weakness in the topper's routine. It is a structural feature of it. Decision 3. They treat stopping time as a non-negotiable as stopping time, not as a reward earned. The topper sets an end time for the study day and holds it. Not because they ran out of material, not because they're satisfied with what was covered, because they understand, through experience, not inspiration, that the sessions that go 2 hours past the planned end are almost always the sessions that produce the least usable retention and the most damage to the next day's capacity. Recovery is not earned at the end of enough work. Recovery is the condition under which work produces anything at all. The topper is not working fewer hours. They are protecting the quality of every hour by refusing to let one session cannibalize the next. Over a semester, that protection compounds into something that looks, from the outside, like effortless consistency, because the effort never visibly breaks down. It doesn't break down because it was never allowed to accumulate past the threshold where breakdown happens. Wayne prepared for years without an audience because the preparation was the point, not the performance of preparation. He stopped when the session was done. He returned the next day with the same quality of effort. That repetition, held to a standard across months, is the entire architecture. 3 decisions, daily in sequence. That is the topper's routine, not the color-coded planner, not the 5 a.m. alarm. You came into this expecting a schedule, times, blocks, specific hour-by-hour sequences you could copy and run starting tomorrow. That's not it. The topper's routine is not a schedule. It is a set of decisions that can sit inside almost any schedule, including yours, starting today with no new app, no new system, no new equipment. First cognitive act goes to the hardest work. Last 10 minutes of every session go to retrieval, not review. The day ends when the session ends, not when the material runs out. 3 decisions every day. The schedule is a vehicle. These decisions are the engine. Copy the schedule without the decisions, and nothing changes. Make the decisions inside whatever schedule you already have, and everything does. Tomorrow morning, before you open anything, before the messages, before the feed, before the first reactive input of the day, open the hardest material you are currently working on. Give it 45 minutes, uninterrupted. Before the world has had any of you, at the end of your next study session tonight, close the notes. Take 10 minutes. Write everything you covered from memory. Find the gaps. Those gaps are your revision list, not the syllabus. Those specific gaps. Then set an end time. Write it down before the session starts. Hold it when it arrives, regardless of how the session feels. Rest is not the opposite of the work. Rest is the condition that makes tomorrow's work possible. The topper isn't doing more than you. They're doing 3 things differently every single day, and the gap between your result and theirs is exactly the size of those 3 decisions compounded over 1 semester. One question: which of the 3 decisions, protecting the first hour, ending sessions with retrieval, or holding the stop time, is the one you've never consistently done? Name it in the comments. That answer is your entire semester plan.